Have you ever wondered what one simple act on your dog could save their life? It looks like something out of a movie, but trust me, it's stories like this happen in real life and shows us just how much these animals are amazing. You have a four-legged friend, will know that they will go far beyond those of fellow believers. Most of the time, they seem to have a special sensitivity, a sense that it defies our understanding. And it was precisely in this connection that has made all the difference in your story, I'll tell you right now. Stay with me until the very end, because that's all you're going to discover may surprise you and change the way you see the world of our beloved dogs. This is a breakfast joint, a routine that is located in the home of a woman who lives on her own. She is someone who has always liked to be in the company of his dog, animal, cheerful, and very restless. On that day, she was relaxing in the living room when all of a sudden, a drop in the unexpected happened. It may seem like a small thing, but for her, it was a huge risk. Wounded and unable to stand up, she found herself isolated, with no idea of what to do. Without the strength to ask for help, and the time seemed to creep by slowly, and with each minute that passed, increasing the concern for each and every second, with no relief could be life-threatening. In the context of vulnerability, something odd began to happen. The dog, usually playful and attentive, and showed a flurry of activity that is different. It was almost with a sense of urgency, seemed to be beyond the ordinary. And it is precisely here that the story won an unexpected turn. Have you ever gone through a situation in which, try as I might, I could not achieve what you want? Imagine for a lady up there, desperate and not being able to move around, while his faithful friend, he did it in a way that no one could have predicted. And it is precisely at this time that our story begins to unfold, with an act that, while simple, has changed everything. If you identify with this feeling of being trapped, of not being able to move forward, even with all the power that you have, please know that all these experiences are a part of our growth. The most beautiful part is that, many times, and it is precisely in these times of trouble that we find the power hidden inside of us that is not thought to have. If this topic makes no sense to you, leave it here in the comments which one you tapped on this story, up until now, or you share an experience that has helped you to look for a way out. Your being here is what makes this channel grow, and to reach more people with this kind of content, building a community where everyone can feel welcomed and inspired. In addition to this, if you like this video and want to follow up with stories that touch the heart and inspire thoughts, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Each like, each comment is one way to strengthen this trade-off, to show that you value that one moment and you want to see more content like this, so we can go together, learning, growing, and making up our own stories to tell. After all, it is the journey. It only makes sense when do we share it with those who truly understand and support them. And now, we are going to continue, because there's still a lot more to come. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the truth which is hidden by the back of our decision-making. It is often the one that truly shapes our destiny. When I look back, it is easy to see that for each choice, as small as it seems, carries a burden of meaning that goes far beyond what we can understand at the time. These are small decisions, it is often impulsive, or that are based on emotions, time-sensitive. You will be piling up and creating an impact that is felt in the present. And the question is, how many of these decisions have been really aware of? How many of these have been influenced by the invisible force that is little, we realize, but that which guides our actions in silence? This is strength, and many of the times, it is related to our way of thinking and the standards they internalize over time, the stories that we tell about ourselves, and the beliefs that we believe as absolute truth. The journey of transformation begins just then, the comparison of these hidden truths. Many times, you'll see kind of a roadmap of the mind which is limited, which prevents us from seeing the possibilities are greater or act in a different way. These limitations are invisible. They can come from past experiences, beliefs, and legacy of the fears that were so deeply rooted that they seem a part of who we are. And it is precisely at this moment that the magic of changes start to happen. When you begin to question those stories and to explore what is really behind your decision-making, we opened up the space for new understanding of ourselves. It is as if a curtain was slowly pulled open to reveal a bigger, more real, and where we can pick and choose our steps with greater clarity and purpose. However, this is a journey of self-discovery that is not something that happens overnight. It's a process. It's a sort of excavation of the continuous, in which each layer discovery reveals new nuances of our own history. And it's these little nuances, a lot of times, they bring revelations that challenge our certainties, and they invite us to rethink everything we thought of as right. When we begin to understand that our choices are not the result of outside circumstances, but it is also a part of home that many times it is hidden, it all gets a whole new dimension to it. It's as if we go behind the scenes in our self-conscious, finding the motivation to more in-depth on the drive to act in a certain way. And in doing so, we realize that we have the power to rewrite this script internally, to change your limiting beliefs for new narratives on the rise, and that we inspire them to go ahead with more courage and hope. In this sense, the transformation becomes a real internal revolution, a change of mind, and has an impact in all areas of your life. When we are able to see beyond the surface, as well as the stories that we tell, one is freed freed from many of the restraints will not be seen. And this is freedom. This is the one that gives you the power to decide with more confidence, to act in a way that is aligned with your values, even when everything around you would seem to indicate otherwise. This is the culmination of a journey, to find out who are the authors of our own stories, even though many times we may be stuck to the pages that have been delivered to you. And then, when you do it, you realize that the impact of the transformation starts from the inside, in our minds, in our deepest truth. I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because understanding the roots of our decision-making is the first step to truly change the course of our history. And this, in turn, reveals a whole world of possibilities which before seemed to be far away or unattainable. It's as if, when you open the layer hidden in our being, we begin to see more clearly what it is that really matters, what really makes you tick. And with that clarity, you can make choices that are more aligned with who we are of the truth, without any of the masks and limitations as we from time to time. After all, this is a journey of discovery, that is, in essence, a quest for authenticity, for a chance to break free from the shackles that keep you from the living with the fullness. And in this context, the impact we can make to transform our way of thinking, and it's great. It echoes the way in which we relate to, as we face the challenges in our ability to create a life that is truly meaningful to us. When we've stepped out of the stories that limit us, we open up space for a new narrative, a story of courage, hope, and authenticity. And this is the new narrative, is that which pushes us forward even in the face of difficulties, and with the confidence that we have the power to choose our own path. Thus, each decision, each and every step is taken with a conscience, contributing to a transformation that goes far beyond the superficial. It's a real journey of self-transformation, where each discovery reveals a new version of ourselves. In order for this journey to continue the development of its authenticity, it is important that each and every one of us is willing to face up to the truth very often we would prefer to conceal. Because you are, in essence, the real change will only happen when we have the courage to look within, to confront our own shadow, and to accept that we are in a constant state of evolution. It is in this movement of self-discovery that we find the strength to make the decisions that are aligned with our purpose. And in doing so, we find that the transformation is not a final destination, but a path that must be revealed each day, with their findings and lessons learned. And so, as we think about all of this, we realize that the biggest revelation lies in our ability to change what is available to us all, our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. Because deep down, the real transformation begins in the mind, and in the decision to look outside the box and believe that you can be and do anything else. That's the beauty of the day. It is made up of small, daily decisions. The choices are aware of the fact that, as a whole, they have the power to bring about a new reality. And in the process, each and every one of us becomes the protagonist of her own story, be able to write chapters for a more aligned with your deepest truth. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the truth hides behind all this journey of transformation. That is, precisely, on the understanding that it all begins from the inside to the outside. The real change is not something that happens by chance or due to the influence of external factors. It is born out of an internal decision, a decision to reschedule the way you see the world, and especially, as we'll see to it. This is a finding that a lot of people will do so only after years of failed attempts, the repetitive cycles that seem to be never-ending. And at this point, the majority of them end up asking yourself, why does it seem so hard to change? The answer is actually more simple than it might seem. The difficulty lies in the strength that we have created within ourselves, in our own minds, that a lot of times in the sabotages with doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs, which seem to be quite harmless. But in reality, they function as the invisible walls that prevent us from moving forward. The processing then goes through a process of self-knowledge in depth, where it is necessary to confront these beliefs and to understand where they are coming from. Too often, we carry the stories that have been told in your childhood, the experiences that shaped our perception of the value of or ability, and to this, the narrative of touch if you have turned on the barriers that seem to be huge when we get close to the heart. It is as if, deep down, you would have an inner voice that insists to tell them, you are not able to, or it's not for you. And we, at this point, it is to argue with that voice and understand their origin, and above all, replace it with a new narrative, one that is more in tune with who you really are or want to be. This is a process of change of mind about having the courage to, because it means going a step beyond what we are used to. It is not simply the desire for something different, but to reschedule all of our daily lives and mental, our deeply held beliefs, and creating a new chapter in its history that it will serve your purpose. That's what's important in their daily habits. Small decisions that, in mind, it seems simple, but the practice often helps to shape our mindset in a powerful way. You will begin to understand the impact of these choices on a daily is much larger than any of the large outdoor event, because it really becomes a reality, is your way of thinking and acting in their daily routine. To understand this dynamic, it became clear that the journey of transformation that is above all a journey of self-construction. Every decision we make, every thought of what you eat, it contributes to the final result. result. And in the process, you start to realize that the answers we seek are often inside us, hidden by the layers of insecurity and fear of change. When we are able to break through the layers, the effect is immediate. Our way of thinking changes, our actions will reflect this new approach, and so we began to build a new life, more in tune with our dreams, the most authentic, and the fact that he was always there, just waiting to be discovered. It is fascinating to perceive how such a change in its internal structure has an impact on every aspect of our lives, in our relationships, career, health, emotional. For each achievement, each step forward, it is a confirmation that the real power lies in the decision to change from the inside out. And at the same time, this understanding helps us to see that there are no shortcuts, magic, but rather a journey of self-discovery, continuous, where each step is taken. It is a statement of our ability to continue to evolve. And, as long as the journey progresses, the more it reveals that the revelations which had been hidden by a layer of ignorance or self-deception. These findings provide us with the clarity you need to move forward with more conviction, courage, and certainly nothing that we are the protagonists of our own, a transformation. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the true essence of transformation, is not only in the external actions or by the changes that are visible, but the change in mindset that occurs at the very core of our being. It is as if behind every decision we make, there is a layer of the insights you might not realize it, a kind of filter, to recognize that the influence of each step that we take. These perceptions are often rooted in the limiting beliefs, fears of the ancients, or even the way that we learn to understand the world around us. When we begin to challenge these beliefs, the question of the validity of which is always taken to be true, something inside of us begins to change in order to be silent, but powerful. The journey of self-discovery is a never-ending quest for this truth hidden from view. It's right there, behind the scenes of our mind. Actions really are consolidated. And as we go deeper in that process, the signs appear more and more clear. It is almost as if it were the light that illuminates that which was previously hidden in the shadows. These findings, in turn, creates a kind of impact, built in, a sort of tipping point, where the understanding is part of the way we think, act, and decide. It is a true transformation of one's mind, breaking the old barriers and opens up the space for a new way of looking at the possibilities, challenges, and potential. And it is at this point that we realized how much of our decisions are often made in an automatic manner. They were attached to the look of a built-in limitations. When we begin to question these standards, as well as courage comes naturally to us, not daring to act out, but the courage to face up to the truth, as hard as it may be. Because you are, in essence, every change requires that the encounter with what is deepest in us. And, in so doing, we can begin to understand that every choice we make is an opportunity to rewrite our history, from the dismantling of old concepts, and to build a new narrative, one that is based on authenticity and self-acceptance. At the same time, their journey reveals that many of our own most deeply rooted and were created by an outside influence, by the experiences that we have in the past, or for the opinions we absorb from the culture, which is not always in the favor. It is as if we are stuck in a kind of writing in the preset, but when you realize that, you can begin to write a new chapter. And this is the writing that is done by making mindful and with the small everyday actions that you can reinforce this mindset. Choice of looking at the world with the hope of recognizing one's own limitations in order to identify them, and understand that the power switch is, above all, in his or her ability to change the narrative of the inside. All this, however, does not happen at one time or another. This is a building on the daily, in moments of reflection, autocompexo, and self-discipline. Each of the revelation that emerges in the process is a very important part, so that we can move forward with a more lightly on the planet. These findings can help us understand that true transformation is not a one-off event, but rather a continuation of the small victories, built in, which when added together, they create a new reality. And to understand this dynamic, we can begin to understand what the impact of this change will go far beyond what we imagined, as it echoes in every area of our lives, impacting our relationships, our financial decisions, our health, mental, and even in the way we view the world around us. That is why it is so important to keep that attention to what is going on behind the scenes of our minds. Because when you uncover those hidden truths, we have gained a freedom that seemed to be out of reach. The freedom to be who we really are and to live according to our values and build a life that is aligned with our essence. It is a process of discovery and constant, in which each congregation, in preparation for the next step, more aware and better prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. And in this game of self-knowledge, the key is to recognize that every time a new discovery is an opportunity for growth, a chance to reconnect with what really matters to you, and to the strengthening of our efforts to move forward with courage, hope, and change. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that's the true transformation happens exactly those components, internal. And oftentimes you don't even realize that we have been keeping secrets, fears, and beliefs that keep us from moving forward. And this is where the day-to-day becomes more complicated, but it's also the most powerful. When we begin begin to explore these aspects are covered, we can begin to understand what the limit is often not a matter of the outside, but it's something that we carry it within us, a story that has developed over time, often without notice. In these stories, the internal shape our choices, our emotions, and especially our vision of the world. And by acknowledging it, we make room for a real revolution in the way we view our history. From the moment that you have this realization, everything changed. It is not a matter of trying to control or mitigate these barriers, but to understand where they're coming from, why they are there, and how we can consciously rewriting this story. In this rewrite requires courage because a lot of times we are faced with truths they'd rather keep hidden. It is a process of self-acceptance, to look within and without the fear of acknowledging our own vulnerability, and at the same time, our forces are hidden from view. It's quiet, it's happening behind the scenes in the mind, is what really defines the impact that we can make in our own lives. Over the course of a journey of self-discovery, we've begun to realize that the choices we make are not random, but are the result of a chain of decisions that are based on standards that were created back then, many times in childhood, or on the remarkable experiences. These patterns, when you are not aware of it, they work as a filter that distorts our perception of reality, and it leads to situations that are repetitive, that it might seem impossible to change. So, the real challenge lies in the detection of these filters and to understand their origins, and particularly to learn how to make them. This change in internal as a silent revolution, which, little by little, it will reflect in our actions, in our relationships, in the way we think about obstacles and opportunities. And it is precisely at this point that it enters a new layer of understanding of the impact of our decision-making is so much greater than we can imagine. For each choice, as small as it may seem to you, it has the potential to open doors for you or to create barriers. When we are aware of it, we begin to act with more intention, more aligned with our core values and deepest desires. It's not just seek to external success, but the real transformation from the inside to the outside, which will allow us to live a life that is more authentic, more meaningful life. This transformation is a continuous journey that requires patience, attention, and dedication to constant, and to keep in line with who you really are. In the process, we discover that the truth is hidden, often inside us, hidden under the layers of doubt, insecurities, and the old limiting beliefs. And to prove it, it's not something that happens in an hour or so to the other one, but it's a way for the small revelations that day, the choices of whether to delve deeper into the essence. The more we allow ourselves to that immersion, the clearer it becomes that the true freedom is born out of a deep understanding of who you are and what you really want. This is the freedom it gives us the strength to move forward, even in the face of adversity, because we believe that each and every step, no matter how hard it is to be part of a great journey of transformation. And this is where the reflection is important. A lot of times we are so focused on achieving results that we forget that the biggest change comes in our mind, in our ability to see beyond the surface. This change in perspective is what truly makes a world of difference. When you start to see the impact of our own personal stories of domestic, we are the protagonists of a story that is more authentic, more in tune with our dreams as the most serious. This awareness is what enables us to tackle any challenge you with a more calm, clarity, and above all, with a new hope. And in that discovery, and the revelations are going to accumulate, forming a kind of internal map that will guide us in the direction of one's life more fully, and to be real. So when you delve in the realm of possibilities, it is important to remember that each and every revelation, every insight, it is a fundamental part of our evolution. There can be no growth without the confrontation, and without the courage to face what you are hiding. And a lot of times, the biggest secret, it's just that it has yet to be revealed for us. The more we connect with the truth that is hidden, the more empowered we are to make decisions that make sense and are in line with who we are of the truth. And it is at this meeting, the authenticity of which we find the power to transform our lives in a way that I never imagined to be possible. Now, as I reflect back on all of this, I encourage you to think of one word: authenticity. This is a word that carries so much power. It is the key that unlocks the process of inner transformation. Because when we allow ourselves to be true to ourselves, we open the door to a journey of discovery that goes way beyond the surface. And in it, each step is an opportunity to learn, grow, and, above all, to reconnect with what really matters to you. Then, write in the comment with a word or a phrase that means to you, this is the quest for authenticity, for the truth that is often hidden in the back, just waiting to be discovered. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the true occult that you are looking for, is not just a question of the discovery of the outside, but the inner transformation that challenge our own beliefs, our limitations, and even the stories we tell about who we are. This is a journey of self-discovery, is about having the courage to look inward, to reflect on questions, silence, and the fears that too often we prefer to keep hidden, even if they have on the crash, or prevent us from moving forward. It is at this point that everything started to unfold. To the extent that we allow ourselves to see beyond the masks to the social, we can see that most of our decisions are guided by some kind of programming, the mental, the legacy of the past experiences, opinions of others, or even from limiting beliefs that you have adopted without notice. In this process, the transformation happens in a subtle way, almost as if in a revelation that will accumulate over time until one day you realize that that which you seem uncertain now, it makes sense to have a more in-depth. It is as if a curtain was lifted, and on the back of it, vislumbrásemos a fresh look, more realistic, more in tune with our inner selves. And it is this revelation often comes with a sense of freedom, a lightness, as if a load is the former had been removed from our shoulders. But in order for that to happen, it is necessary for us to be willing to challenge the status quo, to question our own certainties, and that you agree to it on the way to the truth requires a vulnerability that, in addition to for a dose of self-discipline. At the same time, the search for authenticity that reveals a deep, behind the scenes of our mind, and where decisions made in moments of doubt and insecurity are often believed to have a lasting impact on our history. These are small daily choices that you, as a whole, helps to shape who we are and how we see the world. And too often we only manage to see just how much we have been influenced by the standards of others when we began to take a more in-depth analysis of a sincere and our own story. At this point, we realize that the truth is hidden. It is not something external, but it's a built-in. It will need to be undone, or at least a review. For this reason, each and every step of this journey are the revelations that seem to be simple, but they carry an immense weight of the meaning. They will challenge our comfort zone. We are inviting them to rewrite the narrative that we have about ourselves and the world around us. And in doing so, we create a new mindset more in line with our core values and deepest desires. This is a change from the perspective of impact on all of our actions, our relationships, our dreams, the more ambitious ones. It's like, to be free of these shackles and invisible, we begin to see the possibilities that before would have seemed impossible, simply because we fail to be limited by the beliefs that we are. In fact, they never had a foundation of strength. In this journey of transformation, it is vital to understand that the search for the truth, it is not a final destination, but a path of continuous growth. Each discovery leads to another, and each of the insight opens up the space for new questions. And therefore, we are moving forward, always in the direction of a more true to ourselves. And in this quest, no matter how challenging it is at times, it brings a sense of belonging, and connection is the largest, with the things that really matter in your life. After all, when we know the truth, and everything around us is getting a new dimension, that is richer, more meaningful life. It is in this movement, the discovery quiet, and the revelations within, you find the one that really drives us, and makes us feel alive in a way is genuine. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me." I now want to go more in depth on this topic, because understanding this connection is built, the journey of self-discovery, and often reveal hidden layers that neither knew existed. It is as if, when you dive into our very core, we started to disassemble it to a mask that you carry it for years, a mask which was determined by expectations, by fear, or by social conventions. And in doing so, we begin to see the truth was there, hidden beneath the surface. We hold these truths. A lot of times, they are as simple and at the same time, transforming our one true love, the one that really makes you feel alive, the one that gives meaning to our day-to-day. But to get there, you have to have the courage to face what's on the inside, in order to explore our own boundaries, and to accept that not all the answers come easily or quickly. The transformation that occurs in this process, it is quiet and subtle, but powerful. This is how one phenomenon that happens behind the scenes of the big production, the one who does not see it, is essential for it to happen in the perfect manner. In addition, our internal changes are often not visible to the eyes of those who are out, but they do have a profound impact on the way we view life, our decisions, and even the simple actions of everyday life. When we begin to understand that our mind is one of the most powerful tools we have for you, everything changes. The mentality is, if you tune it the way you see the obstacles to change, and what once seemed impossible, it will be an opportunity for growth. And in the process, the awareness that everything is a matter of choice, it becomes more and more clear. We have decided that each day we want to be, what values do we want to strengthen it, and how much of an impact we want to leave you out in the world. This understanding leads us to a kind of liberation to it, where we no longer have any hostages in the past, or to the opinions of others, and we listen to our inner voice. It is at this point that the truth is hidden. It begins to reveal herself, because in the silence, it and the noise outside, you can hear what really matters to you. And in doing so, our decisions will reflect more of our inner selves, the less the fear or the questions that we have for such a long time. At the same time, this is a journey of self-discovery has also revealed some of the behind the scenes that a lot of times we would prefer to ignore. For example, the limiting beliefs that we have learned in your childhood, or a pent-up emotions that urge to show up at the most unexpected moments. These findings, although it was uncomfortable at times, are essential in order for us to continue to evolve. After all, there can be no growth without any confrontation. And it is this courage to face everything that challenges you to find a long-lasting impact on our lives. With each step taken in the direction expands our consciousness, strengthening our resilience, and enables us to new discoveries, which so often seems to be hidden behind the curtain of the unseen, waiting for the right time to be revealed. All of this leads to a kind of alchemy, the emotional, and where do we turn what once was limited in the fuel to keep you going? And in it, we learn to trust our intuition and to enhance our own personal experiences and the understanding of the deeper truth that is within us. It's like a journey in the wake of constant, where each and every discovery opens up the space for new questions, new possibilities, and a broader view of what's really important. And in doing so, we find that the transformation is not a final destination, but a path of continual dance between what we are and who we can become. This understanding gives us the strength to move forward, knowing that every step, however small it may seem, it is part of a bigger story, one that only we can write. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. Right now, I want you to go deeper in the subject line, because that is the quest for the true transformation, is often reveals the layers that go far beyond what our eyes can see on the surface. It's as if we're breaking down the universe of the internal, full of nuances, emotions, and beliefs that shape who we are and who we can become. And in the process, we realized that every decision we make, however small it may seem, is having an impact that is quiet, almost invisible, on our journey of growth. It is such a current is to recognize that it connects with our daily actions, with our greatest expectations, making it clear that the change is not a one-off event, but a chain of small choices that, together, we create a domino effect, the ACT Power Adapter. To dive a little bit deeper, we realize, too, that many of the obstacles that will meet on your way are, in fact, a reflection of a mindset that is still not completely aligned with the new version of ourselves. It's not a coincidence that many of the times we feel the strength or even the fear of moving forward, because deep down, that what we're facing, it's a battle of quiet between who we were and who we want to be. And it's this internal struggle is a sign that you're on the right path. It indicates that something old has to be left behind for the new to flourish. The truth is hidden behind it is that she, and most of the times, was born of a limiting belief and fear of the unknown. And when you recognize this, we can begin to work with this internal narrative, breaking down the standards that you in the trap, and open the door to a growth mindset and genuine. This change also means that, many times, the greatest enemy of change, we're on our own with our questions and auto-sabotages. It is as if we were in a sort of lever to the emotional, to break down the barriers between accounts. And this switch, often, is in our ability to understand the truth hidden behind it, which prevents us from moving forward, is that we are the masters of our own destiny. A journey of self-discovery becomes, then, a never-ending quest for the truth, the discovery of which we can rewrite our own stories, no matter how many times you've fallen to or been lost. Each of the problems, in fact, it is a learning opportunity, a chance to strengthen our resilience and to refine our view of the world. When you think about these behind-the-scenes to internal, it becomes clear that the true transformation is about having the courage to face up to what is most profound in all of us. It takes courage to confront the emotions that they often prefer to hide in, to question one's own certainties, and to open up space for new possibilities. That courage, however, is an essential element of any changes that will be long-lasting, because without it, the cycle of trial and error tends to repeat itself when there is no real progress. And that courage comes from a deeper understanding of the impact that our choices can have on our history and our self-worth and our ability to influence the world around us. Now, I want you to go even deeper on this subject, because as you explore such scenes to internal, we have discovered that the journey of transformation, it is also a journey of self-transcendence. Not only is it a change in behavior or routines, but also develop our inner selves, to extend your limits, and to redefine who we are, in fact. It is during this process that we find that the change in the radicals going on inside of us, in our way of looking at the world, and our connection with each other, and our relationship with time. And when you understand it, you can see that each step is taken in that direction is a statement of courage, and a statement that you are willing to reinvent themselves continuously, even in the face of difficulty or uncertainty. All of this leads us to a deeper understanding of the transformation is not a straight line, not a final destination, but a journey of discovery set. In a journey that requires patience and resilience, and above all else, open-minded, to learn from every experience, whether positive or challenging. And in the process, the thing that really makes the difference is our ability to maintain focus on the larger purpose, to believe that every step you take, no matter how small, contributes to a more authentic, more strong, and more in tune with what you really are and want it to be. After all, it's the true transformation happens when we get together with this understanding, with concrete actions, powering our lives with courage, hope, and a dose of curiosity, and relentless to find out in the next chapter of this story that only we can write. And speaking of stories and insights, it is a reflection of that. A lot of times, the major changes occur in the moments of quiet, when we're alone with our thoughts, and questions everything around us, and, above all, in all of us. It is in silence that we hear the truth of it, and sometimes we would prefer to ignore, and it is at this point that we can make choices that will really transform us. So, it's a journey of self-discovery, and development continues. With the promise that you'll get behind the scenes to internal, you can open the door to a more fulfilling, more aware, and more in tune with our deeper purpose. purpose. And in the end, it all comes down to the courage to move forward even when the path seems unclear, because we know that real change starts at the decision not to give up on ourselves. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me. I now want to go more in depth on this subject, for it is precisely at this point that we begin to uncover the hidden layers, which helps to shape our reality. Many of the times, we believe that it is our actions and decisions are the result only of our conscious reasoning, but in reality, it hides and reveals that a large part of what drives us comes from the universe of the internal, silent, almost invisible to the eye. It is as if we are carrying out a ship, but without taking into account that there are currents in the ground that you can influence the direction, the speed, and even with the storms that we encounter along the way. The chains represent our beliefs, our emotional patterns of our memories, the deeper ones, the ones who often don't even know that we carry with us. Once you understand these behind the scenes to internal, we have begun to realize that many of our limitations does not come from the outside world, but it is to be understood in a distorted than we do ourselves. In this interpretation, and many times, it was built in the early childhood, nurtured by experience, that at the time it seemed to be a small, but over the years, they have turned into a real walls, not seen. These walls, they create a kind of prison, mental, and where we convince ourselves that we are capable of, that we don't deserve, the success of this is out of our reach. And there you have it. The true transformation begins when we are able to recognize these patterns, and then, with courage, the challenge to his roots in the deep. From that moment on, everything starts to make more sense of it. We find that the change is not something that is outside of us, but it's a reconstruction on the inside. It's like a piece of art that needs to be carefully restored, layer by layer, reveal their true nature. This journey requires, above all, a growth mindset, a willingness to confront the truths that difficult, and with a sincere desire to evolve. Every decision we make, every step is with a piece of this big puzzle that you will be attaching to the extent that we are going to unveil all the behind the scenes of our own. And in doing so, we open up space for a new narrative, one that is more in line with our core values, and the purpose of that is really on the move. I now want to go more in depth on this subject. It is because of this understanding reveals the impact that just a few can see it in all its glory. When we begin to explore these behind the scenes to internal notice that many of the obstacles that seem insurmountable in our history were, in fact, a reflection of an internal war silent. This is a war. It is fought between what we want and what we believe is possible in our real potential, and the limitations that we have created in our minds. And, in the conflict, and the key to freedom is courage to face our own shadows, accepting our flaws and learn how to engage with them, rather than fighting against it. For this reason, the transformation is a simple yet powerful decision-making. Taking control of the universe is inside. This is the first step in creating a new narrative, a story where you are the protagonists are aware of, that are capable of rewriting our own destiny. When such a change of mind happens, everything around you starts to change. The opportunity to appear in a much clearer way, and the relationships grow stronger, because we better understand our own emotions and those of others, and the feeling of being in control of their own life. It's something palpable, almost tangible. It is as if, from within, a new life would begin to light up every dark corner, revealing the possibilities of hitherto unseen possibilities that were right there, hidden beneath layers of fear and doubt that you'll carry for years to come. And it's this journey of self-discovery that is not linear or straightforward. It does require persistence, and, above all, a willingness to learn each and every step. After all, the brave, behind the scenes, internal, we have found that many of our most powerful, they were always there, inside of us, just waiting for us in the very first step to get to them. It is a process of reconstruction, of freedom, of waking up to a version that is more authentic to who we really are. And in the meantime, behind the scenes will continue to reveal your truths, often surprising, that in the drive to move forward with more clarity and purpose. Because, after all, the greatest change happens when you decide to look into it with courage and humility, knowing that the real impact of our lives, it starts exactly at the point of connection with our inner selves more deeply. He comments that, "It makes no sense to me." If you've read this far, I want to thank you for following this journey until the very end. I think that, ultimately, the most important thing to realize is that with every step, from one reflection to another, leads us to a better understanding of who we are and what we really want. And if that kind of content it made sense to you, leave a comment with a statement that shows that you are here in the US until the end, as in, "I'm with you till the end," or something similar that is meaningful to you. It works by helping to strengthen our connection, and it shows that you're building something real here. Also, I would also like to ask you to leave a like on the video, because that's the energy that we have created in the course of the conversation. It becomes even more powerful when you are concerned about your approval. Each of Tand encourage you that this content is able to reach out to more people who, like you, are looking to understand more about themselves and transform their lives in a way that is lightweight and natural. If you like what you've seen so far, I'm pretty sure that in the next movie can't help you even more to delve into in this discussion. There's a video right here on the side, which complements this subject. You can click and keeps me there as well. So we went out together in the sharing of experiences, lessons learned, and insights into what we are to grow up in the truth. Thank you for being here until the end. I hope to see you in the next Video One conversation in a quiet, authentic, and full of meaning. See you soon.